If you don't feel safe, healing's gonna be difficult. Hello, I'm Rodger Duckworth, and for the last 30 years, I've helped people, often at the edge of despair and giving up hope, not only manage but overcome their chronic pain, their chronic health issues, and relational issues. Safety. Now, we need to feel safe. Now, how do we know we feel safe? Well, there's a felt sense to that. And we don't just think, okay, well, there's a bookcase over there and there's a bunch of flowers over there and there's a seat over here, so, oh yeah, I feel safe. You know, there's a felt experience. If we don't sense that we feel safe, we are in a different state of physiology, in a different state of responsiveness. We may be hypervigilant. We may be in fight, flight, or freeze. It's going to have an impact on how we are, what our physiology is doing, what our heart rate's doing, what our inflammation is doing. Yeah. So how we feel and how we sense that in our felt sense, which is not a thought process. You may think, and it may filter up to a process of going, I think I don't feel safe. Yeah, but how do you know that? How do you recognize that? You know, I feel anxious. Okay, yeah. Okay, how do you know that? Because I don't feel safe. Okay, again, words. What is the felt sense experience? How did your brain arrive at that? It's not because there's a bookcase over there or not. You feel the vibe. You know, we feel an energetic experience. Of course it may be, I think I heard a rattle. Maybe it's a rattlesnake. We are detecting these things. I saw a look in that person's eye and or a tone in a voice that makes me go, uh-oh. Of course there are those very tangible things, but then there is also an energetic field and presence that we may just walk into a space and go, ooh, something's off. We all do this with our partners. We go, you okay? Yeah, we know, we can feel it. And we could probably actually, it's an interesting thing, you know, if you walk around, just not walk around with your eyes shut, but if you walk into spaces and you shut your eyes and feel something, you will feel something. And your body will respond, and we are listening to that. Now, the importance of being able to be attuned to that and getting a sense that we are safe will affect our body. It will affect our brain. It will affect then back down into our hormones, because if we are not safe, we will go into some kind of increased heart rate, adrenaline activation, cortisol hormone release. We will not digest in the same way because we need to run away from a tiger right now and not digest dinner. Yeah. So all of those things have a physiological effect based on how we sense and feel and can settle in our space. Now, that may be the space, that may be the therapeutic alliance, it may be the people we're with. But actually, if we've got a lot of trauma, then often we'll end up in a hyper-vigilant state. So actually, when the environment is reasonably safe, we might still not feel safe. Yeah. Because the slightest thing, we'll be sitting there anticipating that there is going to be somebody coming in that door. Something is going to happen. Why? Because the past experience may well be that even the safe people that ought to have been safe were not. Yeah. And that you may not have been able to just yield and feel safe in the space around you. So you maintain a hypervigilance. Yeah? Or you maintain some sense of distance from connection. Or you maintain some sense of dissociation from engagement with environments. All of these things are coping strategies. And so helping people to come out of hypervigilant states is important work and is a skill. And that takes time, and it takes trust building, and it takes experiences, and it takes a sense that we might need to gently come into a more safe space. Now, it's very common for people to actually meet an anxiety. As we sort of come down and we begin to settle, what we meet is actually anxiety, because they're like, uh-oh, I don't want to come off guard. That seems like a really stupid thing to do. And we have to pendulate gently into just working with that over time. It's a simple throwaway word that if you don't feel safe, then you won't, that's going to affect your healing. But it's a very, very nuanced and very complex thing and field. And it requires time. It requires a practitioner that can really help you get there, and a sense of helping us to come back in contact with our felt sense, which often may not feel a good place to be because it's full of all sorts of horrible experiences. But if we can't feel it, then we can't heal it. Yeah. Now, we may not help, it may be too much for people to come into their bodies. Sometimes we have to just go, well, what is it? Oh, I just have a sense that I just feel more settled. Okay, all right, well, what's happening? Oh, I noticed that my mind has become quieter. Okay, great. Because sometimes the body is too difficult to be in contact with, and we have to wait a long time before we get there. And I'm saying this as someone who's very much a body worker and body-based, body psychotherapeutic practitioner. But sometimes we've learned that we need to stay away from the body for a while because it's too much. Yeah, because it's not safe to be there. So we have to help people actually achieve safety at many levels. Yeah, and that's a slow process.